Well, thank you very much. We're now going to engage the Secretary General of the Jubilee Party, Jeremiah Kioni, who is also one of the principals of the Azimio coalition and, of course, one of the people who have been central in terms of the party and, of course, the Jubilee Party and the Azimio leadership. And we're just going to ask him some of the questions about the AU job that Raila Odinga, the Azimio leader, is angling for. Thank you so much, SG, for your time. It's been a while. Yeah, so we just want to start from that. Is the Jubilee Party endorsing this candidature fully from the bottom of your hearts as the party?
We had a presser. Immediately Baba indicated that he was going to AU, and we endorsed his going to AU, wished him well, and we will do all that it takes to help him become the new chair or the new president of the AU Commission. It is a position that is available to the East Africa community. So if it comes to Kenya, it's a benefit for us all as a country. Yes.
And you also mentioned something that Raila had not consulted all of you, and you just realized that he had announced the candidature. What did you mean by that?
That what it is, that this is a personal decision. It's a decision that you make as an individual. Politics is fairly a personal thing. At the very far end or very near would be your family, if that is a thing and that has been agreed upon by the family. Let me put it this way, that I'm sure Baba had making this decision, he knew it is a decision that he himself must make in consultation with the family. And after that, then he can consult other formations outside like Azimio and ODM and the rest. And that is now what he's doing. And he has promised to do that. You saw him consulting his voters or his base at Homa Bay. So the consultations are still going on.
But should he not have consulted you as the principals before announcing it? Because you're together in the streets. Mlikuwa pamoja maandamano, SG.
Even if he had consulted us before, I doubt whether the outcome would be any different. We will still have said yes. Okay. Yes.
And because you're the closest person we have to the president, your party leader, former President Uhuru Kenyatta, did he also want this thing?
No. Uhuru Kenyatta has never expressed his desire for this position. But as I said, it's a position available to the East African community. And many parts, you have seen Kikwete, people thinking that Kikwete also had an interest. So when these kind of positions are available, people have their own candidates in mind. But it's a question of whether the candidate himself, whom you have in mind, is actually, he has that issue in mind. And I am certain that our party leader will give the Azimio party leader all the support that he requires to become the chair of AU. If they see, in terms of diplomacy, I can tell you ahead of time that his word will be heavier than any other person from this country.
Okay. But he hasn't given the word yet.
He has. He has. I mean,
you haven't seen a statement from him.
He doesn't have to say. He has. He could just be doing his shuttle work. These are not things you do from a political platform. Ama juu ya gari. Unajua tumezoea wanasiasa kuongea juu ya gari. These are things that are done behind closed doors, telephone calls, visit and the rest. And I'm sure he has already started doing that.
Okay.
Yes.
He's still very young and, of course, very experienced. He has a very good rapport with other presidents in Africa. Do you think he would have also made a good candidate?
We have seen the East African community not East Africa, Central Africa, have had a stab at this position more than once. And you have said he's young. So who tells you that it may not come again and he is the only one available? So, yeah.
Okay. And there's also some proposal and amendment that is being proposed by some of the people or leaders in AU, and they're saying that if a country has produced a chairperson, an AU chairperson, and of course also a vice chair or an equivalent, they should not be given another chance. Do you support that?
I think these are proposals that have been on the table more than once, and we have seen them do things differently. I have just said that I think Central Africa has produced two in the recent past. I don't think it will be. It may be the desired thing, but to put it in black and white, it is not. I don't think it's a wise thing to do. You may have two very qualified people from the same country who can offer that service at different times. You don't want to just lock that kind of a talent from your continent for just a purpose, for the reason of saying that you cannot produce two. We do not want, it's a good thing, but we also don't want to export the Kenyan mind to some of these positions all over the world. Yes.
All right. And as the Azimio coalition, what is the way forward? Who is going to replace Baba if he goes to AUC?
The way forward is forward ever, backwards never. I mean, Baba said it very clearly. He said he is within 2 hours leach if we want him. And in essence, he is saying what we set to achieve as Azimio must be achieved by Azimio. So the onus is now on us who've been left behind to ensure that we quickly move the vehicle a little forward. And again, like he said, we call him home when we think we should. But I believe that we have no reason to keep, kumusubua akiwa kwa kazi. We should do what we should do here and move on. Azimio must approach this issue as a team. I hold that. If we get sprinted, then we will be falling to the play or the desire of others. But that does not mean that we don't strengthen ourselves as a region. I am coming from a regional meeting of political party leaders from Mount Kenya, where we have sat and we are going to have meetings so that we have unity in our region, and in that unity, any other formation that is formed by that unity becomes stronger. So we've just had one meeting. We're having another meeting on Thursday next week of more than 13 political party leaders. And those are meetings you are going to see alongside other meetings you see in Azimio.
Okay. Yeah. And Raila's move, according to what I had in a meeting in Homa Bay, has some sort of course, confused the party, because the Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka was saying we don't know whether we should tukate miti na baba ako pamoja na Ruto huko juu. Do you feel the same?
Again, these are personal decisions, but if you ask, my personal decision is that I will have difficulties working with a person who has pushed the cost of living beyond what Kenyans can afford, a person who is increasing taxes left, right, and center, a person who caused the death of over 90 people when we went around picketing, a person who is a one-man guitar. I personally will have difficulties working with that kind of a person, but that doesn't stop any other person from working with him.
So you want to work with the president?
I will not work with the president. I don't need to say that anymore. I will not work with Ruto. I will work with Kenyans. You saw them heckling. Even the members of parliament of Murang'a, they had difficulties themselves explaining why they need to pay taxes on avocado yesterday. So even Kenyans are not working with William. So wewe unaenda kufikiria tunaenda wapi badio?
But your the coalition leader is working with him.
He has said again it's a personal decision. And we have no problem with the personal decision.
But it's also a coalition decision because you're supporting it.
No. We are supporting his candidature to AU. And something very important that he said. The person proposing him for the seat is Museveni. Hata wewe soma ndani zaidi. Museveni is the one proposing him for the job. It's not Kenya.
SG, has Raila Odinga punctured the opposition?
The experience, the following, he has managed to capture the imagination of very many Kenyans over time. The number of years that he has been in politics in this country, you cannot wish it away. Without doubt, we have work to do to ensure that the momentum is kept within Azimio, because he is in his own class in terms of politics. So we would be lying to say that we don't feel like kidogo tumerudishwa nyuma and we need to now work harder. And that's what he's saying. Can you people work hard? Achieve what you wanted to achieve. If you need us, within 2 hours, Nico. I mean, so we have to work hard as members of Azimio Coalition. We can promise Kenyans that we will not relent. And that is why he never invited us to meetings with Ruto, because the position of the coalition is the same.
Okay.
The coalition is not working with William. Yes, okay. Yes.
And who now takes charge as the leader of Azimio? We've seen Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, yourself, you're there. Who's going to lead?
And the leader will emerge. The leader will emerge. Usiwe na haraka. Iko miaka mingi hapa na atatokea tu.
Are you one of them?
I am a leader in Azimio. We have Kalonzo leader, we have Paranya, we have Wamarwa, we have Kalonzo, we have Mother. All these are leaders, and but the most important thing now is to ensure that your unit, which took you to Azimio, is functioning and it is well. That is what will make sure that what we wanted to achieve as Azimio, we have achieved. Remember this, Emmanuel. When we were calling for demonstrations, maybe we had like 40% of the country. Today, without demonstrations, 80% are where we were telling them to be. So we have already achieved, and it's upon us. And that's what even hata wewe mwenyewe ukijiuliza, where Kenyans are today, they are saying, ebu mpige kula leo, tutoe hawa watu waende. So even Raila at his level, he has gotten to where we need to be 2027. He's already gotten to where we wanted to be, maybe earlier than the date. So kwa hivyo hata kwenda kutembea kidogo, kwenda kupumzika na kuruda, hiyo mambo yote ni mambo sawa.
Do you think he will come back and in good time be back for 2027 elections?
He will be telling us in the coming week, I believe, anytime. He will be able to give us those details as to what does he think into the future. And those are the things that will remain known to just a few of us. We don't want to tell mtu kama tunajipaga mambo ya 2027. Siwezi pada juu ya meeting nianze kusema vile tutafanya. Lakini hii kitu ni mzuri sana kwetu. Hii mambo hii ni mambo mzuri. Wewe hujui mambo mzuri imefanyika. Hii ndio msaidi.
But SG,
you will struggle to get what I'm saying, and you struggle to. Lakini hii ndio mzuri. This is the best thing that has happened.
Kenya Kwanza supporting this bid. Do you think they have a sinister move?
Of course. Kenya Kwanza, the desire is to remove Raila from the equation. That is the desire. They would want to remove Raila from the equation because they think he is the most dangerous person under the universe for their 2027 bid. Yeah. Na baba pia hapana mjinga. Baba ni baba, unaona ameenda na amesema mkiniita nitakuja, nitaitika.
So anaweza rudi.
Wewe atarudi. Baba atarudi. Kwani si ni nyumbani hapa? Atarudi tu, baba atarudi. Na akirudi pia atakuta tumejipanga. Kwa hivyo sisi wote tunajipanga. Kwa hivyo tunajua tumejipanga zaidi kuliko vile walikuwa wanafikiria.
Okay. As we bring it almost to a close, if according to this arrangement the president offers you a job in his government, are you going to take it?
No, I won't. I mean, some of these, I don't know. Some of these things are not things we do half-heartedly. No. Remember, even AU job is not in this government. Ni huko ni ya Wakenya wote.
Even a CS?
Oh my God.
SG sema ukweli.
What do you want? I won't. Me, I am committed to this cause. Uliona nikibeba sufuria? Hiyo sufuria bado iko kwa gari. And it is a serious thing. Every single day the sufuria is getting empty. Things are getting worse. And Kenyans can associate them, can actually now see what was this sufuria thing about. I saw it. This regime will just continue taking us down the drain, with a single, the heaviest weight will be felt by people from Mount Kenya. Now they have realized from now onwards, it will be Uda struggling in Mount Kenya to climb the mountain.
Okay. Yes. What would be your advice to Raila Odinga with working with the president? Because you're saying you don't support working with the president. How would you advise him?
Mzee, chunga Ruto. Baba chunga Ruto. Usikaribie zaidi ya hivyo. Hivyo imetosha. Kwanza ukienda Addis enda kabisa usikaribie tena. Unakujia pande ya Lake, unaingilia Mombasa, usikujie pande. Usikaribie huyu. The only way he can survive is by bringing people down. Because Kenyans have already brought him down. I am telling him, walikuwa nasema baba hawezi panda mlima. na sisemi ati tumepanda mlima, lakini sasa wenye wako na shida ya kupanda mlima saa hii ni UDA. Hata tunapopanda hata sisi wao wako chini yetu.
We haven't seen the na Kenya party leader, Martha Karua, so much into Azimio in the past few days. Is she still part of this team?
She is, and we just finished a meeting with her. We were in a meeting with her. Yesterday we were with her in Muranga. We are in all these activities. Remember, there are so many things happening within Mount Kenya that you have to really look for time to come and do something outside Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya is the heaviest hit by the malpractices of maladministration of UDA. And it is the one crying most for leadership. And that leadership is available in that still within Azimio. Mimi na Martha tulijitolea kuanzia siku ya kwanza mambo ya Azimio. Tukasukuka Kenya hii maandamano. Wengine ambao wako katika sehemu zingine wakatutukana na wakasema mambo ya sufuria. We are still committed to that. We had seen what they had not seen. And when they come, we want them to come on board. And that is the ball we cannot drop.
Well, thank you very much. That has been the Secretary General of the Jubilee Party. And he says, Raila Odinga, the Azimio leader, the AU Commission candidate should be careful. The steps that he's going to take are going to be very consequential ahead of the 2027 polls. That is the much time we had with him. Thank you so much for your time. Over to you, Jesse.
Well, thanks, Thor, for that chit-chat with the Jubilee Secretary General, Jeremiah Kioni. A couple of takeaways. Number one, unity is sacrosanct within Azimio. Number two, Azimio will benefit. They've seen this move coming and they're doing their calculations, so they're quite ecstatic about this move of Raila moving to the AUC chair position. And equally, he says UDA itakuwa na shida ya kupanda mlima this time round. Manyora, your take from that brief conversation with the Jubilee SG.
Yeah, Kioni is a tough guy. He knows what he's talking about. Except I don't agree with him when he talks about Azimio moving forward stronger, aware of what's happening. They can outsmart Ruto. That bit is stretching it a little too far. About climbing Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya is going to be tricky. I've said here this morning, I've said that Ruto is certainly working with Raila. They have a deal, and they have had this deal for a while now. Things are just coming to surface now with this AU and a couple of other moves that will show that was true. If President Ruto, I want to repeat, thinks he's too comfortable and he doesn't need Mount Kenya, he doesn't need Rigathi Gachagua because he has Raila Odinga, he may be in for a big shock. And not in the manner in which Kioni is suggesting. Because as I said, the people of this country are already suffering. The burden is just too much. If they conclude, if Kenyans conclude that these two gentlemen with a couple of others, one should change them, that Raila and Ruto think they are too smart for them, the people can rebel. The people can just move against them. But it cannot be Azimio in the manner in which Kioni is telling us. Azimio in the manner in which Kioni is talking about. Opposition in the manner in which Kioni is talking about is dead. Without Raila, if Raila has a deal with Ruto, and I believe he has a deal with Ruto, he's dead. But the people of Kenya can act minus these leaders. The moment they send the betrayal, I just hope that Ruto doesn't get too comfortable and decides to do whatever. He's already doing a number of things that really you can't explain.
All right.
The way he's stepping on the people of this country in matters of cost of living, in matters of disregard to the rule of law. So you can imagine if he got comfortable and did a lot more than that, and the people conclude he's doing that because he has Raila on his side, the people can move against him.
Okay. Dismas, as you come in, there are those, the voting population who believed when political rhetorics was said that Raila atarudi nyumbani. And UDA was quite critical with Raila, and his non-involvement within their government. what repercussions could there be within the mountain? Mind you, Rigathi Gachagua doesn't have his own party, so he's still joined at the hip with President William Ruto. So where does this leave the mountain population that perhaps voted for UDA thinking that Raila ndio atarudi nyumbani?
Well, I think the mountain is not having any challenges electing a leader or supporting UDA or Kenya Kwanza, because you will recall President Ruto on his own motion, without the support of President Uhuru Kenyatta, went to Mount Kenya and he cut a deal. And he took over the economy when the economy was bleeding. So what Mr. Kioni is talking about, that things are thick, the president is in fact cleaning tables. And Mr. Kioni, I think, is one of the luckiest men probably in the Kenyan political space, because he's gotten about 20 minutes of national airtime to literally say absolutely nothing apart from engaging in disinformation. So the first thing he says that Mr. Raila Odinga's candidature is a Kampala candidature. I mean, every Kenyan knows that Nairobi is supporting Mr. Raila Odinga. So Mr. Kioni has been given time by TO and KTN, and then disinformation. The number two, he says he will not work with President William Samoei Ruto, as if he's working with him now, and then he's going to withdraw his support, as if failure to work with him is consequential. Because right now, Kioni doesn't have any political capital. He cannot influence conversations at the National Assembly, at the Senate. He cannot influence conversations anywhere apart from having a Sufria on his head. So when he says that he will not work with President Ruto, what are the consequences? All right. And then number three, and probably most important, is Kioni assumes that Kenyans have got no capacity nor agency to take decisions. Kenyans understand these issues. That Mr. Raila Odinga has got a very high appetite for political office, for power. So when he's going to AUC, it's not as if he got a call from State House and he was told that there's an offer, please take it so that you give me peace of mind. No, he's been craving for this. And in as much as he's craving for this, he's actually prepared for the position. Because as we indicated last time, he probably knows 50% of his voters, now the president, on a first-name basis. But the biggest challenge is that as he campaigns for this role, he needs to be very careful to be sure that President Ruto, President Ramaphosa, President Tshisekedi, President Kagame are not Mora and Wanjiko that you address from the rooftop of a four-wheel drive. These are heads of state that you are supposed to treat with a lot of care. In fact, his pronouncements around this position should be about a framework of his leadership. But this idea of telling us that even if I get this position, I'm 2 hours away, and then you are making public your diary that you're meeting other presidents, that leave it for Murai in Mososho. This is a very serious role which must be treated with the respect that it deserves.
Let's bring in the communication expert. So should he approach it that way, as you add on to what Kioni said?
And I think Dismas is probably missing just a point here. That when you're speaking, you must be alive to the target audience that you're giving that message.
True.
So, I mean, in as much as politicians speak on top of the rail vehicles here in Kenya, they know this is a Kenyan crowd they are addressing. And there is no reason to believe that the way Raila or Raila's team address Kenyans about the AUC position is the same way they're going to address President Cyril Ramaphosa or President Yoweri Museveni. Those are totally two different audiences, and at one level, there's a lot of diplomatic speak. But at another level, just like Prof said, you must assuage the emotions of your political base in this country. And that is clear, you know. Number two, I think Dismas talks about disinformation. And probably Dismas may want to understand that there are three strands of information disorder. There is mis, where you don't know that you are misinforming. You're telling people something that is not factual. There is dis, where you actually know the truth, but you've decided to inform people in a way that does not speak to that truth. And then there is malinformation, which makes use of deep fakes and all that, where you know the truth, you're actually telling people the truth, but in a way that serves your interest. In all these cases, Kioni did not speak any of those three. There was no misinformation, there was no disinformation, there was no malinformation. An AUC chair can be proposed by any country. It doesn't have to be the country where he originates. And that is in the law. But the thing is, if you are a Kenyan it would be very difficult if you're proposed by another country and your country does not support you. So Raila has called two here. If Museveni is proposing Raila and Kenya is not against it, that's a win-win for him. And I don't think there is any misinformation there. Let me come back to the Jubilee Secretary General. Let me, first of all, debunk what this man say, that he is of no political consequence in this country. If he was not of any political consequence, let me say, Jubilee wouldn't be facing the wrath that it has been facing from Kenya Kwanza. In fact, even the deputy president of this country has since realized that they're in a house that does not belong to them. And that underscores the reason why there has been an affront on Jubilee. And I think Kioni has been very consequential because they've said steadfast for the people of Mount Kenya, because it seems like it is the Jubilee party that will now rally the people of Mount Kenya and help the people of Mount Kenya remain at the top of the mountain. Because as we speak right now, and I want to agree with him, if you look at what this regime has done, and they've done a lot of consequential things, you know, and the citizenry of Mount Kenya region has bore the brand of the high taxation regime. Now they've realized that actually there are members of parliament who are busy passing the Finance Act of 2020. They didn't even read it. You know, we eat fruits here in Nairobi. It is now that it is hitting them that now they have to pay taxes on those fruits. I live in Sunais. I think we do fruits, you know, not for commercial purposes. So that tax that they're charging farmers may not affect people in the areas where some of us come from as much as it is affecting the people of Mount Kenya region. And that probably tells you that the biggest issue here is there are two things that have been sorted. One, the Azimio conundrum of what to do with the leadership that did not attain power in 2022 has been sorted. And to that extent, I agree with Kioni. So it is a pawn, just like the Pope. When the Pope is being elected, the heavyweights or the guys, the cardinals at the top get into a room until a white smoke comes out. That is the forward ever that he's talking about, that now they have to work their socks off. And if they don't have socks, they'll pull their skins off to get a leadership that will keep the momentum. And then number two is what Prof has talked about, that there's a sense in which, you know, now we'll be in this situation where we'll be imagining that there is no one to keep the government in check, you know. And I think if that one happens, it will be disadvantage to the regime. For the simple reason that, one, they banded this narrative of the handshake that was bad during Uhuru Kenyatta's regime. Weaponized people against that handshake. But it is going to be pretty much the same thing that will happen if there won't be opposition. So all these things that the deputy president has been saying, that, you know, we brought the handshake and it affected government delivery, will be used against them. And then number two is the question of, you know, if the president and the regime are very comfortable and there is a dearth of opposition or someone to hold the regime accountable, the people will feel the brand. And what that will do is that the people will rise against the entire political leadership. And with or without Raila, who is going to suffer that consequence? It is the regime that is in power. And therefore, if Jubilee, with the leadership of Kioni, rally the people of Mount Kenya around a cause that addresses their issues, from where I sit, it's likely to be very interesting for them.
Okay, Maliba, we have to take a short break. But as we come back, we'll definitely give you precedence. You can...
Maliba was doing press.
Yeah, I tell you. So we're taking a short break. As we come back, we'll hear from Maliba and the other panelists on the same issue, even as we canvass another issue that played out in the course of the week, the LSK elections. There were a couple of reservations that the hand of the government might be seen in that particular election. Who did it? We'll definitely come to evaluate that, even as we take a look at what the housing bill will be facing in the Senate this particular week. Remember, you can converse with us. We'll be taking in your calls as of 12:30 going forward. So do feel free to add into the conversation we're having right here in studio. The numbers should be displayed on your screens in just but a few. You can call in. Definitely tell us where you're viewing from, your name, and give us your take on the issues that we have conversed. The numbers are on your screen. You can call in as of 12:30 going forward. So feel free to join into the conversation. We take a short break. We'll be back in a few.